Hello and welcome to the show. Taking today's recording at my desk, so hopefully there shouldn't be too many interruptions. My neighbor is still doing renovations on his house, so all that banging and clicking and clanging, that's where all that noise is coming from. Now, if you're looking for a good business education, that is the focus of this podcast. So don't worry if you're just discovering the show. Don't worry, this is not a podcast about my life and what my neighbors are up to. And if by the time we are done, you find any useful from all the stuff we talk about here, then please share, promote, and talk about the podcast so that your friends and family members in Nigeria and abroad can benefit from the questions that we tackle. They can do that by subscribing on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, or any player of their choice. And if you in particular, dear listener, have any sales and marketing questions, then bring them to me. You can call, you can SMS, you can WhatsApp me on 080-6466-2140. Now, today on the show, I'm also going to be going over something that came up on the radio when a caller from Masaka called in. Masaka is a place in Abuja, Nigeria. That's for those of you who are not Nigerian listening to the show. And funny enough, back when I was in school, I think it was Greg's. I think I was in Greg's at the time. Massacre actually used to be, a code word for like massacre. Like if you wanted to brush somebody, you say, let's go and massacre, that guy. So, anyway, I'm not condoning violence in any way. Anyway, don't mind me. I don't know how I got here. Anyway, so somebody on the radio show called in, and this was in the month of April. It was on the 1st of April, 2025. So this was, it don't pass like 1 month when this happened. And the person's question was how to deal with stress and how to deal with breaking down in business. Because business can be stressful. It can be very, very stressful. And especially for people who get into it, you're still at the level of one-man show, that kind of thing. It can gnaw on you. It can grate on you. So I did my best to answer the question, to tackle it the best way that I can from a sales and business development perspective. But ultimately, I had to tell the guy to call back 1 hour later because, funny enough, after my own show on Radio Maria, the next show actually is the mental health show, where you have a mental health professional who has been trained on all these sorts of things. And he actually is the kind of guy that people should go to. And I've listened to his show. It's quite good. People reach out because, whether it's marital issues or issues with kids, in-laws, finances, business. So shows like that they come in very, very handy. So if you're listening to this podcast right now, you're dealing with stress, you're dealing with breaking down, no problem. I'll give you a few pointers, but remember, I'm giving you pointers from a sales and business development perspective. I am not professionally trained when it comes to mental health things. So that is a caveat that I always give here on the podcast. So take what I say and apply it. Yes, it is good practice, but also you should be looking for somebody who is professionally trained on these sorts of things so that they can guide you well and give you good advice and be able to assess everything in a holistic manner. Because, as a human being, we're a component, we're the sum total of all kinds of things. So like take me, for instance, I'm a sum total of how is business going? Is business going good? What about the podcast? Is the podcast going good? My relationship with Momsy, how's that one going? Have I gotten over my daddy issues? My relationship with my kids, how's that going? My relationship with my wife, how's that going? My relationship with the family in general, the community in general, my neighbors, we're a sum total of all these kinds of things. So I'm going to tackle this only from a sales and business development perspective, but you need somebody who's going to sit you down and have that conversation of, okay, yes, you're stressed out in business, but you will not have all that conversation, the family conversation, the spiritual conversation, the financial conversation, maybe even the health and fitness conversation, all those conversations. So bottom line, what I'm saying, guys, yes, listen to this, but go and look for a mental health professional. I spoke to someone last week. I was giving her guidance on, I think actually it was on content management. Sorry, not content management, content marketing, content production. And this was last week. And then this sort of thing came up. And I had to tell her that, look, you know what? You're based in Lagos. This is the part of town where you are. next to you, there's a general hospital. In general hospitals in Nigeria, I can verify that we have mental health professionals that are on staff. I told them my own experience about when I had to go in and see someone. That was because road safety. They forced me to go in and see someone because I made an illegal U-turn. And because of that, they said I'm mad. I mean, can you imagine these road safety people? All of them just bastards, just looking for how to collect money. So because of that, they said I had to go and see a mental health professional. And me, that day, I was like, you know what? Kobo, I'm not giving you. I'm not giving people anything. I'll go through the official process. And the official process, unfortunately, was that you had to pay a fine of 25,000 naira. Then you also had to pay to see a mental health professional. In fact, my whole day was wasted. Now I understand why whenever road safety or AMAC or anybody just catch the driver will just, drop maybe like 10K or something. Because to be honest, it's a lot. Yes, I'm not saying you should break the law. I'm just saying that from a time mitigation perspective, it seems to make a lot of sense that, look, okay, these people are here, give them 5K, give them 10K, let them go and sort themselves out. Let me be on my way. Anyway, where was I? So that's when I learned that we now have mental health professionals in our health institutions here in Niger. So the place that I went to was next to the cathedral, next to the Pro Cathedral in Abuja. I think that's either Area 8 or Area 10, but yes, so I saw a mental health professional there, and they certified that I was not insane. And, I also got to discuss, one or two personal issues because, I'm curious. So I discussed one or two personal issues, and then I was on my way. And so I can say confidently that wherever you are, if you're in Abuja, if you're in PH, if you're in Lagos, if you're in Makurdi, if you're in whatever, that government hospital that is close to you, the one that people used to call General Hospital, I'm told that now they're not called General Hospitals anymore, because I was describing the place to someone. I told the person General Hospital. The person didn't know what I was saying. And then Momsi told me that, look, stop calling it General Hospital. That, yes, it was General Hospital when you are a baby, but you're not a baby anymore. They now call them something else. So the place that formerly was called General Hospital in the city close to you, if you are based in Nigeria, go to that place. Go and register, go and get a card. There are mental health professionals on staff, and you can talk to them if you are dealing with severe issues, stress, breaking down, mental health, depression, everything. Okay, now let me get straight into the question, how to deal with stress, how to deal with breaking down. Now, this is the way that I tackled it. You will be stressed and you will break down if you do not have adequate business frameworks for dealing with things. So if you're one of these people who wakes up, especially if you're a one-man gang, a one-woman gang, if you're the person who wakes up and you freestyle, you will be stressed and you will break down. I'm telling you. It's standard. It's basic. You can't avoid it. If you're freestyling, you will burn out. You will have stress. Just take it. Whether you like it or not, it's just what it is. So, the number one way to make sure that you don't break down, that stress won't kill you, is you come up with simple business frameworks. You need a sales framework. When you have a sales framework, you're able to better deal with financial pressures. If you have a sales framework, when you wake up in the morning, there's a plan. Who am I going to talk to? What will I say? Who else should I reach out to next? Who are the people I should be paying attention to? Where am I supposed to go? Who am I supposed to be seeing? You can see that if you have a well thought out selling framework, a sales framework, when you wake up every day, the question is already answered before you. The thing don't set. All you have to do is just decide, let me follow the plan. That reduces some of the level of stress and some of the level of thinking that you're going through every day. You don't have a sales plan. You're waking up every day and you're freestyling. How won't you break down? Man, it's stressful. Selling in itself is stressful enough. You now want to give me the added pressure of I wake up every day and I'll now start thinking, who should I be seeing? Where should I go? Of course, you will break down. So make things easy for yourself. Come up with a selling framework. Come up with a sales framework. That's the whole point of this podcast. And that's the whole point of other people, other Nigerians who are creating this kind of content. Listen. Don't just listen and say, insightful, groundbreaking, wise. Those are some of the stuff that people tell me. And I appreciate it when people reach out and say, I appreciate the wisdom on your podcast. I like that. Makes my head swell. But then don't just say insightful, wisdom. Take one thing, apply. So by the time you finish listening to this podcast, there's not enough meat, there's not enough flesh for you to come up with your own selling framework. Go on ChatGPT and put it in there. I'm a Nigerian business person. I deal in car spare parts. I would like to come up with a selling framework to lessen the amount of mental health, the amount of stress that I'm going through in my business on a day-to-day basis. What are good tips that you can come up with for designing a selling framework? And then hit send. I'm telling you that ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Claude or whatever will give you some useful tips. Some things will make sense. Apply them. The one that don't make sense, discard. And the thing is, by applying that one small thing, you are at least making one more step in the right direction. You're better off today than you were yesterday. So, look for a way. You don't have to come and pay me money, but look for a way. Begin the design. Start designing your own selling framework. It will reduce financial pressures, especially since, the more you become proactive about selling and the more you become intentional about selling, the greater your results become over time. So you will find that you come up with these frameworks 2, 3, 4 months down the line. Financial pressures, go they tap down small. It will improve your life. Come up with a sales and a selling framework. And then on the day-to-day, it reduces all the mental load. Like in my own case, I didn't have to think this morning, what podcast episode am I going to record? Because I have a content calendar. Everything is already laid out. Tomorrow, I don't have to think. It's a matter of wake up and execute. That's on the content side. The same thing on the sales side. The people that I'm supposed to call today, it's already laid out. It's already on the calendar. All I have to do is just open calendar and continue. So the small mental stresses on a daily, I've cut them down because I have frameworks for stuff. Content production, I have a framework. Selling, I have a framework. Okay, physical health, I don't have a framework. So that's the reason why I'm fat as, HELL right now. Anyway, I'll get to that later on. So, number 1, business framework. Make sure you have a sales and selling framework. Then, number 2, people management. People management is also a lot of stress. For those of you that have gone beyond one-man gang or one-woman gang, you have a driver, you have somebody who mans the shop. I have clients that are dealing with these sorts of issues. Oh, how far? You did shop? No, I'm still on the road. So who is in the shop? Maybe Kemi. You now call Kemi. Kemi, how far? You did shop? No, I just woke up, sir. I'm in traffic. So who is in the shop? Maybe Chukudi. Then you call Chukudi. Chukudi, how far? Are you in the shop? Oh no, my uncle's, auntie's, younger sister's wife's brother is sick, so I'm taking him to the hospital. So who then is in the shop? Nobody. You don't have to start rushing down to the shop yourself. So you see all these people management issues. And by the way, this is a real life scenario. Of course, I added some extra, just to make it, you understand, to dramatize it. But this is something that happens. At least like 2-3 weeks ago, I can verify that this kind of thing was happening. You wake up, you think you have a business going. You want to reconcile 1 or 2 things from the shop. You call somebody, this person is not in the shop. That person is not in the shop. Who the hell is in the shop? So, people management, serious issues. Who is in the shop? Who is supposed to do what? When were we supposed to meet this deadline? Who is responsible for this? When were we supposed to get back to this client? Has this person done this delivery? So, people management, serious stress. Interpersonal relationships, team dynamics, all these sorts of things, serious stress. You need to have a framework for dealing with these sorts of things. Now, I am not a business management consultant because these are the sorts of things that business management pros will be able to help you solve. What is your SOP? What is your standard operating procedure? What are your human resources procedures? When do you do when people is late? When people are late? What do you do in cases of discipline or indiscipline? What is your org chart? Who is responsible for what? How do timelines flow? These are the sorts of things that business management professionals will help you solve. So, apart from listening to podcasts like mine that are dedicated to sales and marketing, also look for other podcasts like that and start downloading, start listening. Unfortunately, to be honest, I haven't come across a homegrown Nigerian one that deals with these sorts of things. So for now, just manage all the Oyibo ones, particularly the American ones. So you need to come up with the framework systems for people management. Then, for those of you who deal with physical products, inventory management is also another source of stress. How many things do we have in the shop? Are we running low? Do we have to replace? How many do we have to order? How many weeks will it take to get here? How many days do we have to pay ahead of time before the order is confirmed? Who is going to be on ground to receive delivery? You like all these hassles. And by the way, like I'm telling you guys that this is not stuff I'm making up. Because it's not only people who are in the services business that I consult with. I also consult with people who deliver physical goods, whether it's phone, whether it's computer, whether it is solar panels, or whether it's ironing board or whatever. There are people who have to deliver a physical something. So inventory management is a problem. If you sell mops, buckets, ironing board, common household things. These are questions you have to ask yourselves. How many do we have in store? The ones that we have in store, are we using the current pricing? Are be the old pricing? Because when we bought this one with the old pricing last month, dollar was so and so to so. Now dollar is like this, like that. If we sell it on the old price, we will not even have enough money to recover stock. These are some conversations that business people in Nigeria are facing today. You bought mobile phone, you bought iPhone 6, you bought flat screen TV, you bought all kinds of things to put in your shop, but you bought it when dollar was XYZ amount. Dollar is now this amount. If we sell under the old price of 2.1 M, we will not be able to buy to replace because the current market price that is outside there is now 2.7. So if you people do not do inventory management well and your staff has been selling that TV at 2.1, you're in problem. Because to get another model of that TV to put it back in the shop to sell again, you need to buy it at 2.7 before you even put your markup, your profit on top. So inventory management, also another source of stress. Unfortunately, when my client was dealing with these issues, unfortunately, this is not my area of specialty. So inventory management, I can't help you with that. So you should be looking for other professionals. You should be looking for other specialists who this is their kind of thing. How do you hedge against currency fluctuation? Dollar go up, dollar go down. How do you hedge? How do you plan? How do you forestall? And then how do you actually do inventory management? How do you track how many TVs are in the storeroom? How many phones are in the storeroom? How many PlayStations are in the storeroom? How are you keeping record? How fast has it been moving? How many do you think we need to order to be able to meet future demand and supply? How have we been tracking demand? All these sorts of things. So inventory management, how are we tracking raw materials? How are we tracking supplies? How are we doing our logistics? All this thing is also a mental burden. Now, can you guys see? Because some people think, are you that fickle? That you started your business, last year, you've only been in this business 2-3 years already, you say mental breakdown. Some people think, that guy, you're too fickle. Be strong, man up now. Are you not a man? You're not a small girl again. You're a woman now. Man, woman up. What's going on? Don't be fickle. It's not that somebody is fickle. It's just that if you're in the one-woman gang, or even if you have a small team around you, if you're freestyling these things, man, it's a lot. There's a lot to freestyle. So that's why people are getting stressed out and breaking down. But you can see that if we have systems, processes, frameworks, guidelines, principles for how these things are supposed to be done, then it's not that much of an issue. So for the experienced person, let's say back to this whole TV thing, TV, computer, mobile phone. For somebody who maybe did apprenticeship under somebody in Aba, and his Oga taught him, even if they didn't teach you in a formal way and write everything out, they taught you the main principles of how to manage this sort of thing. That kind of person, if anything happens, they just go with it because they know the way forward. For someone like me, you hire me as your store manager, I don't know what to do. So dollar was 1.5, dollar is now 2.7. I have no idea what to do. So these are serious things here. Anyway, let's move on. So we need frameworks for sales and marketing. We need frameworks for people management. We need frameworks for inventory management. If nothing else, if you're able to get frameworks that deal with these sorts of things, and you're able to get professionals to help you in these sorts of things, your level of stress will tap down. It will get low. Stress never disappears. Stress is just a normal part of life. In fact, I heard from someone that in medicine, I mean in psychology, they say stress is the normal body's response to demand. So in other words, if you put a body under demand, then the response you get is called stress. And that stress is normal. The problem is prolonged stress, exacerbated stress. So if your baby cries, yeah, you're stressed. But then you give the baby bottle, or you give the baby breast, or you give the baby custard, the baby will calm down. Stress relieved. But the baby is crying for 7 hours straight. Prolonged stress, exacerbated stress. That is what causes the problem. So we're trying to reduce the stress. We can never get rid of stress. Then, physical health. This is also something that leads to stress response and breaking down. Some of us are in poor physical health. Poor physical health. We all have occupational hazards. We all have dangers of the jobs. And so because of that, we should all be doing some form of remedial workout. Remedial workout just means this is how I live my life. And because of this, one or two things are having K-leg here. How can I offset this K-leg, offset this bad thing that is happening? Let me give an example. So back in my photography and video days, for photography, especially wedding photography. Sorry, one moment. Okay, sorry about that. I thought someone was trying to call my attention outside. So as I was saying, back in my photography days now, photo and video. Now, to be a wedding photographer, especially in Lagos, because of how the wedding starts early, depending on where you live, you have to be on the road, like that kind of 4:30. I don't know about now, but back when I was in the game, that's how it was. 4:30, you're already on the road, 4:30, because you have to beat traffic. The traffic is not really that bad on a Saturday, but Saturday, people going for weddings, things like that. So if you're in Ikeja, the wedding's on the island, maybe not that 4:30, but, I'm just saying, you've woken up early. Then by the time you get to the bride's house, they're doing makeup, they're doing all that kind of thing. So basically you're on your feet because the whole house is full. In-laws everywhere, makeup artists, bridesmaids, everybody. It's not as if there's chair to sit down. So you might sit on the bed or sit on the windowsill or sit here, but you stand up, you'll be moving. But eventually, that you're driving or on your feet for 12 hours straight. From like 4, 5 in the morning till like around that time, 7, 8 at night. That's if you peel away from the reception, you don't do after party. So you'll be arriving home like around that kind, 8, maybe 9 at night. So you spent like 12 hours standing or driving. So it's just an occupational hazard. You want to be a wedding photographer in Lagos? It's just something you have to deal with. They come together. You can't separate them. You can't peel them. I mean, when you become a big boy, you hire a driver. And at some point, eventually I had to hire a driver because man, the stress. And then, of course, if nothing else, you're rushing. You guys have left the bride's house. You're now driving to the church for the wedding. You get there. There's now a queue entering in. If you don't have a driver who's going to take in the car and then park, you miss a lot. Because it's the bride, they'll let her jump the queue and everything. But you're just a photographer. You will quarrel tire. Like, no, I'm supposed to be inside. I'm this, I'm that. I'm with this member of the family, blah, 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 blah. So it just made sense after a while to hire a driver. But either way, we all face occupational hazards. So we have to be doing some form of remedial workouts. So since photographers You stand a lot. Photographers, you're supposed to be doing lots of back work. That is just basic. Squats, go out for walks. Walking also strengthens the lower back. Push-ups, pull-ups, whatever. But you need to be doing some remedial something because, man, that's a lot of standing. A lot of standing. Those of you who are coders, who are doing design, those of you who work with computers, you guys got to be doing some remedial workouts because you are doing poor posture. You're slouching your back, your shoulders, your fingers, your lower back, your everything. You have to be doing some kind of remedial workouts. You have to. And especially when you cross like that kind of 35, you've entered 40, doctors will start telling you, hey, how far? You can't just sit at the desk all day. At least you stand up once in a while, once every hour, once every 2 hours, walk like this, walk like that, before you sit down again. Or you wake up in the morning before you bath, just go outside, walk one way 15 minutes, walk one way back 15 minutes. That's it, 30-minute workout. You start having these sorts of conversations. So physical health, we can't run away from it. You see how that holistic thing I was saying in the beginning, see how everything is tied. So your physical health, if it's completely effed up, it's also going to affect all the other stuff. So physical health, we all need some kind of remedial workout. Even if you don't know what kind of remedial workout you're supposed to do, doctors in Nigeria, I've heard it from different doctors, their basic recommendation is go outside your house, look to the left or look to the right, walk 15 minutes. Once your timer goes, bring, time up, walk back. That's it. You've done 30 minutes workout. You do that 5 days a week. You do that 5 days a week. It's not perfect, but you're heading in the right direction. Then, the final thing we have to pay attention to now, because remember, we've been looking at this from a three-pronged approach. Business frameworks, we need to get that. Physical health, we need to get it sorted. Now the mental health, we need good relationships or people that we can talk to. I hope you're on good terms with Momsy and Popsy. So once in a while you can say, Popsy, how far now? Man, Popsy, you didn't tell me that it's like this. That with house rent and with the kids and Popsy, you didn't tell me. Is that how you guys used to suffer in those days? Man, when I try. You call somebody, you have a conversation. You call Momsy, you laugh a couple of things up. You call your brother, you say how far. You guys laugh over one or two things. You call your sister. Excuse me, just have a cold. In fact, for those of you who have a big sister, if your big sister is in the same town as you, you can even go to her house and say, Ihabo, look, I beg, I'm tired. I came here to come and crash. Do you have food in the fridge? Don't worry, sit down, I'll microwave it. There's only rice, there's no meat. How far now? Can I boil egg? At least you go your big sis house, you go and crash for like 1 hour. After that, people talk small. You're not refreshed. You hit the road, you go and pick up the children from school. Your mind will calm down. At least you went to your big sister's house. You had Indomie and egg. You now drank Fanta. You slept for 1 hour. Or you guys watch Netflix. We need people to talk to. Good relationships. So your spouse, family members, friends. Of course, mental health professional. So go to General Hospital or whatever the hospital is called now. Go and check. There's one person on staff. You need people to talk to. For those of us who are Catholic, prayer and the sacraments, Mass, the Blessed Sacrament, confession. That's why these things are there. They take a load off. Anyway, so that's on the mental health side. I can't really stress the mental health side because I'm not a mental health professional, so I can't really help you there. But I've told you where to go and see one. So, if you start paying attention to these things in a very structured approach, you can see how the level of stress you're going through will tap down. It will pipe low. But stress will never go away because stress is a normal part of the human condition. Now, for those of you who are coming out of your teenage years, because I've been talking to some people who reach out, they like the podcast, and some of you think you are depressed. See, when I was a teenager, I thought I was depressed too. We teenage boys now, now we're going through our own teenage boy drama. You would think it's only teenage girls that have drama. We teenage boys, we have I'm not a teenager now, but back when I was a teenage boy, we had our drama. And even right now, I see teenage boys, they have drama. Although sometimes I want to slap them in the head like, what the F do you think you're going through? Like, you're a small boy. You think what you're going through is stressful. Man, forget that thing. Life is cool. When you grow up, you know what stress is. So, where was I? So I thought I was depressed now. So I went to a doctor and I said, Doc. The guy said, yes, young man. I said, Doc, I'm depressed. I want to die. And the guy was like, calm down. What do you mean? I said, Doctor, I'm depressed. This is going on. This is a problem. That is a problem. That is a problem. The guy listened to me, and after a while, he said, young man, you don't have a problem. And I said, Doctor, what do you mean? He said, yes, I tell you, you don't have a problem. I said, all these things I said right now, you say I don't have a problem. He said, young man, I tell you, you don't have a problem. So I said, Doctor, what do you mean by that? He said, it's very simple. Depression is like a dark cloud. Have you noticed that your cloud rises? And then my eyes was opened and I was like, oh, okay. Yes, there are times when, stuff is going on and I'm in a funk. But the thing is, things have never gotten so bad with me that I did not, at least tomorrow, I know that the sun will rise. Yes, I have dark clouds now, but tomorrow at least I know that the sun will rise. And that was when I now started feeling sorry for people who have clinical depression. One of my classmates drank, what do you call this thing? Sniper. Drank Sniper and killed himself. So now I really understand, because it's then I felt the weight like, wow. Because for me, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling depressed. But at least, tomorrow is another day. The sun will always rise. There are some people who are living, and for them, the cloud never rises. Which is another reason why I think we should stop talking depression anyhow. Some of you are taking up too much airspace so that those people who have genuine problems can't even find somebody to talk to. So especially for those of you who are on the youngest side, I'm talking to some guys, talking to some girls, sometimes it's just normal drama, So you have some snitches and some snakes in school who are doing you one kind. And then your relationship with Momsy and Popsy is kind of rough because, when you're a teenager now, you're trying to expand. You're trying to become a big boy, trying to become, a woman. And it feels as if people are trying to hold you down. Then you're also trying to do one or two runs and, business issues, customer issues, it normally happens. Then on the relationship front, maybe it's unfortunate that the person that you like or the person that is liking you, the person is now an idiot. So, yeah, it can be overwhelming. But just to let you know, now there's some of you who feel as if you're depressed and the world is coming to an end. You're actually not. The world is actually not just coming to an end. It's just a more part of teenage years. You're learning how to cope with a lot. But see, that's the reason why it's good to talk to a mental health professional. Because I knew a doctor. I could go over there and say, Doc, I'm going to die. Life is hard. And then he listened to me and then he set me straight. And since then, I've had a greater appreciation for people who have genuine mental health issues. Anyway, bottom line, let's look for somebody to talk to. But from a sales and business development perspective, make sure you get your frameworks in place. Selling frameworks. I've already told you how you can use ChatGPT, Google, Gemini, or whatever your AI tool is to get something going on. People management. Make sure you start looking for professionals to talk to help you out with managing people. Inventory management. For those of you who have physical goods, you need to be talking to a professional. If you keep trying to freestyle it, you will have stress. Every single time the dollar goes from 1,005 to 1,009, you will have stress. If the dollar goes from 1,005 to 800, I don't know if that's good or bad, depending on your business. But every single time, these things happen, it will give you stress. So just come up with frameworks ahead of time, and you should be okay. So that's all for today, folks. If you have any sales or marketing questions, reach out to me. Call, SMS, and WhatsApp on 080-6466-2140. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.